28-year-old former ballerina Ashley Benefield ran to her neighbor's house on the evening of September 27, 2020. She said she had been attacked. She also said she shot her attacker, a man named Doug, her 58-year-old husband. Ashley and Doug were in the middle of a nasty custody battle over their young daughter. Ashley had accused Doug of trying to poison her, an accusation that the judge did not believe. Meanwhile, prosecutors also did not believe Ashley. They have charged her with murder and say there is no evidence Ashley was attacked by Doug or killed in self-defense. Tonight, we take a closer look at this case and the story of Ashley and Doug. How did they meet? Why did they break apart? And what really happened on September 27th when Ashley shot Doug? I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And the tragic death of Doug Benefield has a lot more to it. I mean, those are just some of the basic facts. I mean, to really understand what happened is to understand his entire story and their family's story. And before Doug ever met Ashley, he was married. He had a first wife and a first life, married to Renee for years. And together, this couple was living a very normal life, extremely normal life. And they had a daughter, and they were raising that daughter, and she, you know, starts as a little child and becomes a teenager. And, you know, there's nothing really like noteworthy, like newsworthy, like shocking or anything about their lives. But then things take a terrible, terrible turn for the entire family, especially for Eva. She loses her mother. Her mother, Renee, dies. And she apparently is the one who finds her mother, who's lost her life. Now, anyone who's ever experienced that, you know, and most of us at some point in our lives will, unfortunately, we experience the loss of our mothers. But then the loss of your mother as a teenager, it's unfair. It's unfair. You know, it's difficult enough being a teenager, but then you've got to deal with that. Well, her daughter, Eva, as you heard, her father, Doug, also loses his life. Much different circumstances, though. Shot and killed by her stepmother, I guess, is what you would call her, technically. Shot and killed. So now you've got a young woman who within a few years goes from, you know, a very traditional life to dealing with unspeakable tragedy and is left without a mom and left without a dad. And now the prospects of your stepmother being tried for the murder of your father. Unreal circumstance. And we're going to talk about it tonight. And we have some guests with firsthand knowledge who've lived through this. Let me bring in our guest joining us tonight in Charleston, South Carolina. Doug's daughter, Eva, is with us. Eva, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. In Atlanta, Georgia, Doug's cousin and the Benefield family spokesperson, Tommy Benefield, is with us. And in Sarasota, Florida, the attorney who has represented Doug Benefield, Stephanie Murphy, also with us. Thank you all. And Tommy and Stephanie, if you don't mind, it's going to take a moment to get to you because I want to speak with Eva first. Eva, first of all, on behalf of everyone at Court TV, we came across your story, we read your story, and our thoughts are with you, and our deepest condolences on all the tragedy that you've dealt with in your life. But what also struck us is it seems like, well, why don't you explain to us how you are handling being this young, dealing with everything you're dealing with. And I've seen that you post a lot on social media, on TikTok, other places. So give us an idea of how you are able to crack a little smile tonight, I saw, and handle unspeakable things that have happened.
I handle it with humor. I mean, at first, you know, it was really devastating, but I have a great support system. I have a lot of good friends and family. And then I ended up posting a TikTok that went viral almost 2 years ago. And since then, I've gained a following of I think 300,000 followers, and they're all very supportive. And yeah, I've gotten to help a lot of people, and I started a podcast also giving people advice. And it helps me to know that I'm helping other people.
That's fantastic. It's amazing. It's admirable. And just so folks who haven't seen your TikToks or listened to your, I mean, you speak openly about what you've gone through. If I can, I want to start in the beginning here and tell me a little bit about what your life was like before your mom died. When it's you, mom and dad, where were you living? What was your life like?
We were here in Charleston, South Carolina, and everything was very normal. I had two loving parents. We did all of the normal family things, and I mean, I don't know, that it was just very normal, textbook loving family.
So now I want to ask you to talk about something that was really difficult. Tell us about the day that your mom passed away.
The day that my mom passed away, I was leaving school, and my mom was supposed to be picking me up because my dad was out of town. And she didn't answer her phone, but she had been up late the night before, so I assumed she was probably sleeping. And luckily, in the car pickup area was a friend of mine from elementary school, and so her mom gave me a ride home. And we went home. All the lights were off, and I walked up to the door, rang the doorbell because I didn't have my key, and my mom didn't answer. And so we left, and we went and got dinner, and then we came back, and my mom still was not answering the door. So then I went to the window it's at the front of the house where my parents' bedroom was, and I saw her silhouette. So we went over across the street to the neighbor, and he knocked the door down. I went inside, and I found my mom.
So, as you said, loving family, loving parents. So how did you and your dad deal with that? How did that impact, your relationship with your dad?
Me and my dad got to be super close after that. He did the best job that he could to fill in as not only a father, but a mother, just because he would say, okay, tell me all your friends' drama, tell me your boy drama. And so I would tell him every single thing in my life. And we were very close. I felt like I could tell him anything, and he listened. And so we mourned my mom a lot. And the first and only time I ever saw him cry was at my mom's funeral. But I think it really just made me and my dad's relationship a lot stronger.
So from that point, when does your dad meet Ashley, and under what circumstances did you get to meet Ashley?
My dad met Ashley 9 months after my mom passed, so I believe it was in August of 2016. And I got to meet Ashley when I first heard about Ashley. It was a Friday after school. My dad was on a conference call, and they mentioned Doug having a girlfriend and if she was going to be at the next event that they were supposed to go to. And I asked him what girlfriend, and he kind of denied it at first. And then he eventually fessed up, and he said, yeah, so we're dating. The next day I met her, and we picked her up from the hotel that she was staying at here in Charleston. And then the following day, it was a Sunday, he told me that they were actually married, not just dating.
That had to be a bit of a bombshell, not having met her, and
just
now
a little bit.
Yeah. So explain to us like what that did to you, and how sort of the relationship was between you, your dad, and now your dad's new wife, and what did you think of her?
At first I thought, she seemed pretty normal other than the very small age gap between me and her. She seemed like very nice. And I thought we were going to be friends. I supported my dad. I trusted my dad with every decision he made. So I thought that if he saw it as a good decision, then I should too. Yeah, she moved in pretty quickly, and things were not necessarily normal because it was very new and fresh to me, but it wasn't bad.
Tommy, let me bring in here. Tommy, when did you learn about Ashley, and did you have any conversations with Doug about her, or was it a surprise to you as well?
It was also a surprise to me personally and our family. I was flying for Southwest Airlines, happened to have a Charleston overnight just a few months after they were married. Got a hold of Doug and gonna try to have dinner since it was a surprise overnight for me. And he surprised me by saying, Ashley doesn't feel well, and why don't you come up to the house? I didn't know who Ashley was, so I made a trip up to the house, met her, found out they were married, and we ended up having dinner together that night. So it was a surprise to us and to our family, in addition to, the really big surprise to Eva. But his close friends knew and were a part of it, but not us.
So Eva, the three of you are living together. When do things change?
I would say things changed when the tension in the house got a little bit higher after they announced the ballet company. And the tension between me and my dad got higher when Ashley started to step in to try and act like my mom. So I wasn't very happy with that. And I was a teenager trying to still warn my mom. And my dad and I got into arguments just because Ashley was not happy with the way I wasn't reacting to her parenting style.
And the ballet company, for folks at home who aren't familiar, your father started a ballet company with Ashley. And we're going to talk about that maybe on a future segment. I don't know how much time we have to get into that tonight. I want to get the relationship story tonight. Ashley ends up getting pregnant at some point, Eva.
Yes.
And how did that announcement go over, and was it planned? What was your perception of how that all took place?
I don't believe it was planned. I didn't really ask, but I was pretty upset. I tried to accept the fact that it happened, and that I was going to have a little half sister, but I wasn't thrilled. And the only thing that really hurt the most was my dad. The night that my mom passed away, he told me that he had no plans in the foreseeable future of even getting married and having another kid. So from him to say that and then 9 months later get married and have a child was pretty upsetting.
And how quickly after the marriage was the pregnancy? Was it relatively quick?
I want to say it was 6 months after they got married.
That's quick. That's quick. That's absolutely quick. Stephanie Murphy, I want to bring you in here because I'm sure you have learned a lot of the backstory of this relationship. From your perspective, what you've learned representing Doug through the years, when did the trouble really start to brew between Doug and Ashley?
Well, I think, like Eva said, this trouble really began with ballet. So when the ballet formation began, things started to crack started to show. So when the crack was showing, things just started to pop down very. And the pregnancy was actually quite planned. Ashley paid money out of her own pocket for to have a birth.
Stephanie, we have a little trouble with your audio, so we can't hear you. We're going to try to fix that in a second, so we'll get back to you. I'm so sorry, but I want the viewers to be able to understand everything you're saying. So Eva, now Ashley's pregnant. You're all still living in Charleston. Is there a point where those living circumstances change?
Yes, it was after Ashley left my dad, right around when she disavowed herself from the ballet company. She called CPS on my dad from Florida, and they got involved. And so I moved out for about 6 months after she had called the police and CPS on my dad.
Okay. So something happens between Ashley and your dad. So there's some sort of split. At that point, Ashley, you said moves out. So are you still in Charleston with your dad?
Yes.
And has the baby been born
Yes.
yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so
She had moved to Florida. Ashley had moved to Florida it was the end of that summer that she announced the baby because she was having a bad pregnancy. So she moved in with her mom so her mom could take care of her while my dad was still working here in Charleston.
Okay, and at that point, how were things between you and your dad, and what was your understanding of the nature of what was going on in their relationship?
I asked my dad to keep me out of their relationship just because it had caused a lot of stress in my life. But me and my dad became super close again. Our relationship, actually, we got even closer because at this point I was older, and he respected me and I respected him. And our relationship went back to normal once she had left because I finally got to spend more alone time with my dad again.
And Tommy, at this point, are you in contact with Doug and privy to what he's going through? I mean, it's difficult. You're married. It's someone that he didn't know for a long time before they got married. She's now carrying the child, and all of a sudden they're split up.
So with the sound that we lost from Stephanie, I was involved in the vasectomy reversal. We talked about it.
Wait a minute. Wait. Slow down. Okay, explain that to me, please, Tommy.
Yes, sir. So Ashley desperately wanted a child. She was young. And Ashley actually paid for Doug's vasectomy reversal to get it started. And then I am a health coach, and I do a lot of health coaching with folks. And we were able to get, fortunate or unfortunate, his system working very quickly. So just a few weeks after the vasectomy reversal is when Ashley became pregnant. Ashley ends up claiming that her morning sickness and how she felt was the reason that she was going to move to Florida. And Doug was supportive of that because that's the kind of person he was, that he would care more about taking care of her and anyone else than he would taking care of himself. So he moves her to Florida, to her mother's home in Bradenton. And shortly after that is when she starts all the drama of accusations. When Eva was talking about CPS, Child Protective Services, Ashley called the Charleston or Mount Pleasant, South Carolina Child Protective Services. They built a case that had no proof whatsoever. They disproved all of the allegations like every other time. But that started the real problems between Ashley and Doug. I was involved with Doug all the way through the process, including when Stephanie came in, as Doug took Ashley to court. Ashley chose to have the child 3 weeks early on the allegations of poisoning. And by that time, we couldn't get Doug access. That's when Stephanie stepped in, brought the case. We won a very easy victory in court for Doug to get access to his child, the young child with Ashley. And I was involved through that entire process, including testifying in court and in depositions for the case.
Wow. All right. Eva, Tommy, you're going to stay with us, and I think we're going to get reconnected with Stephanie. We're going to take a short break. We're going to talk more about what happened and ultimately get to the night that Doug was shot by Ashley, plus coming up in the next hour. In Merced County, California, a family of 4 kidnapped at gunpoint. The abduction caught on camera. Then the man responsible caught by sheriff's deputies. But what about the family? Tonight, the heartbreaking news.
Our worst fears have been confirmed. We found the 4 people from the kidnapping, and they are, in fact, deceased.
It was a holiday parade that quickly turned tragic.
Evil has arrived, and it's shown what it can do.
Darrell Brooks is accused of killing 6 people when he drove his vehicle through a crowd of spectators.
In a surprising move, Brooks waived his right to an attorney and instead will be representing himself.
Our cameras will be inside the courtroom as a community searches for justice.
The Deadly Parade Crash Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 9/8 Central. Only on Court TV.
You're about to Pixit.
This is Doug and Ashley Benefield in much happier times. For Doug, this was his second marriage. His first wife tragically died at home. Then he married Ashley, 30 years younger than him. But I guess he seemed happy at first. But then things changed drastically when Ashley got pregnant. There were some strange accusations coming from Ashley. And we're going to talk about that right now because eventually Ashley shot and killed Doug. She's claiming self-defense, but prosecutors don't believe the self-defense. They've charged her with murder. With us tonight, Eva Benefield, Doug's daughter, Tommy Benefield, Doug's cousin and family spokesperson, and Stephanie Murphy with us, the attorney for Doug Benefield, who we've now reconnected with. So Stephanie, let me begin with you in this segment. So Ashley is accusing Doug of poisoning her and using that as a reason why he shouldn't have access to his new child, his youngest child. What was going on there?
That was actually the first of many accusations that Ashley raised against Doug. So her claim was that while she was pregnant with their daughter, he poisoned her through heavy metals. And so it was a dramatic accusation that involved days of testimony in court in Manatee County. We had nationally recognized experts that testified, and there was just no evidence at all. After she lost the case where she tried to allege that he had poisoned her or tried to poison her and their unborn child, it was just then a line of accusations that then took place after that. And
eventually, what's the ruling by the court? Is Doug he's allowed to see his child, right?
Absolutely. Doug, who loved all of his children, both of his daughters, more than anything, he was, of course, allowed to see his child. The court in Manatee County held that there was not one scintilla of credible evidence that Ashley raised against Doug with regard to anything, including the poisoning. He was allowed to see his daughter right away, and then everything with Ashley flipped like a switch. She suddenly was happy for him to see the child, happy to be around him. It was something you would never imagine.
So I'm just trying to follow along here. So at one point she's like, stay away from me, you're poisoning me, you're trying to kill our child. Then she loses in court, and now everything's fine, let's be together?
It was exactly like that. I was actually there the day that Doug got to meet his daughter for the first time. So the judge in Manatee County ordered that there was no evidence that Doug was allowed to see his daughter. He met Ashley at the Manatee County Sheriff's Department to pick up his daughter, and Ashley got in the car and said, let's go.
Wow. Let me ask you, Eva, during any of this time, did you have any conversations with Ashley? Did she talk to you about the poisoning?
No, not during this time. It was only later when I went to go meet the child for the first time that she actually tried to convince me that my dad killed my mom.
Wait, whoa. Wait, so Ashley is telling you or trying to convince you that your father killed your mother, Renee?
Yes.
And on what basis did she, and how did she try to convince you?
She cornered me. Her and her mom actually cornered me both times I went to go visit their child to try and build a relationship with my dad and their child. And they cornered me both times. And it was two separate occasions, Christmas and Easter. And they tried to tell me that my dad killed my mom and that he was out to get all of us.
Tommy, I saw you react to that. Did you get wind of all this?
Yes, sir. I chose during the trial portion to allow Ashley to speak openly to me, and I kept Doug not in the knowledge that I was speaking to Ashley directly until the court case came up. And I allowed Ashley to make all of her accusations directly to me, both about Doug's military service, which she said was a lie, but I helped Doug get in the Navy. I knew what his military service was. We had proof of that. We gave it to her. I got the accusations about the poisoning from her, and I taught her quickly how to find out if she'd been poisoned or not, but she would never do that legal, credible testing. So I knew it was false. We went through the trial. I helped Doug through the trial part, helping Stephanie with Doug being, having all the documents he needed. And we won that going away. And then what happened was she would present one picture to Doug. Oh, we can get back together someday. Let's raise our daughter together. But the other side, she's telling everyone, including psychologists that she was forced to go to, that she was never going to get back with Doug. So she was showing two complete different things to Doug one way, and then to the other people where she's trying to, convince people of the problem. She's convincing them by saying she was never going back.
Let me ask you, Stephanie, was there ever any talk or by the court of intervening and having her psychologically evaluated?
Absolutely. It actually wasn't done initially by the court. It was done by the sheriff's department because of all the false allegations that she was raising regarding their child. And so eventually, Doug and I were able to talk to the sheriff's department so that they got psychological evaluations done of both Ashley and Doug. And we believe that it is, in fact, those evaluations that actually led Ashley to make the decision to murder Doug. We were scheduled to have a hearing on Wednesday to release these psychological evaluations. We went to mediation in the family law case on Thursday, and both Ashley and Doug, as well as both of the attorneys, advised the mediator that the parties were reconciling, that they were moving to Maryland together, and that we had a hearing coming up in a few days to release the psychological evaluations. And Sunday night, before she had a chance to ever see a judge, or the same judge, I should say, which is another part of the story, Ashley shot and killed him so that he would not get his hands on those evaluations.
Wow. All right, we're going to talk more about that day. All our guests are staying with us, Eva Benefield, Tommy Benefield, and Stephanie Murphy. Appreciate your time tonight. When we come back, let's find out a little bit more about the day Ashley shot Doug.
Prices ever.
This is Ashley Benefield, former ballerina, current murder defendant. Her trial scheduled for 2023, accused of the murder of her husband. There he is, Doug Benefield. For Doug, it was his second marriage. His first wife died tragically. 9 months later, he met her, and within, I think, 2 weeks, they were married. Then she got pregnant, and they were having a child in a custody battle. And then at some point, she shot and killed him. Now, obviously, she's claiming self-defense. She's the victim, etc. But we have with us tonight Eva Benefield, Doug's daughter, Tommy Benefield, Doug's cousin and family spokesperson, and Stephanie Murphy, Doug's attorney, who was involved in all of this. So, Tommy, let me ask you September 27th, 2020, the day that your cousin Doug was shot and killed, Eva's dad, who was living where, and what were the circumstances leading up to the event, and what do we know about that night?
So what we know is that Doug and Ashley had rented an apartment in Bradenton together. And although Ashley always said she was going to move in with Doug and they would raise their child together, she never moved into that apartment. Ashley continued to live with her mother in a home not far from the apartment in Lakeside Ranch. The weekend of the killing, Doug had rented a U-Haul trailer on Saturday. Both Ashley and Doug were there when the rental occurred, when he rented it. And he was packing up all of Ashley and their daughter and Ashley's mother's things, all of his things, to move to a brand new job, a full-time job, up in the same area where Ashley and her mother were from, between Baltimore and Washington. The day of the killing, Doug had taken the U-Haul trailer, filled most of it, went over to Ashley and her mother's house, and was literally putting in the last boxes from Ashley's bedroom into the U-Haul. Just prior to that, when he got there, Ashley's mother, Alicia, took their daughter and took her out to a park late in the evening, almost dusk, left Doug and Ashley at the home, and Doug is literally bent over picking up the last box when Ashley opens fire on him with a handgun. 4 shots were fired. 2 of them struck him. Both would have killed normal people, but Doug, being a former triathlete, in great physical shape, survives longer than anyone thought, especially Ashley. When the shots are fired, the next door neighbor calls 911. Ashley goes next door to the other neighbor, and that neighbor calls 911. The police arrive and the EMTs arrive before Ashley knows it and start trying to revive Doug and keep him alive. He lives an hour and 20 minutes from the shooting, both at the home, where he was loading the last box to put in the U-Haul, and en route and at the hospital, but passes away due to the gunshot wounds an hour and 20 minutes after she shot him.
Do we know if he was able to make any statements about what happened?
He couldn't speak. One of the bullets went through his arm into his chest, and his lungs were filling with blood at that time, and he wasn't able to speak. And we have that from the testimonies of the police, the EMTs, and the doctors.
Eva, let me ask you about a gun. When all 3 of you were living together, did Ashley have a gun then? Did your dad have guns? What?
Yeah, my dad did keep firearms in the house, and so did Ashley. She typically would conceal carry to normal places like the grocery store, and anywhere she went, she would always have a gun on her.
Stephanie, is Ashley locked up now? Is she out on bond? What is the status of her, and what is the status of the daughter?
Ashley is out on bond, and she has an ankle monitoring device, so she's in the community. She is living with her daughter as well as her mother. She is enjoying a lot of the freedoms that each and every one of us enjoys, the very freedom that Doug was denied.
Eva, I'm wondering if you've had any contact or communication with Ashley after that night.
No, I'm currently not allowed to be speaking to her, but I have a feeling she watches my TikToks.
Have you sent any messages to her via TikTok, or you're not permitted to do that either?
I'm not permitted to do that either.
Yeah. So, Tommy, As you look back at everything that happened here, and it seemed like everything happened so quickly, from meeting her to the marriage, has anything come up about her past? Have you learned like what her life was before she met Doug, and anything to indicate that he may have walked into some sort of a trap here?
What we know about her is her first marriage didn't go well. It was to a Marine officer who wanted to be a pilot in the Marines. Both Doug and I were pilots in the Navy, so similar careers. That marriage did not go well. There were a lot of accusations of abuse by her about her first husband. We know that her father, her biological father, left her mother and her when she was 15 years old. So that, I'm sure, was traumatic. And that separation, I'm sure, didn't help, how she handled life. What we do know is that when Doug tried to make her dream come true and create this ballet in Charleston, all backed very strongly by the community, by the dance community, that all went well until she was exposed for having no real ability to manage or lead. That's part of why we know that she went to Florida, based on the testimony of other people involved with the ballet at the time. So Doug was getting a presentation from the first night they met. She had prepared days in advance to present herself and present what she believed Doug wanted. And then she used his trauma over Renee's death and that grief to then present him with a great solution: marry this young, beautiful woman. And she can present herself as beautiful, but she also, we've seen from the mugshot, isn't nearly as beautiful when she's not made up. So she, once again, always presented one thing to Doug. Reality was different all the way through the relationship.
All right, Eva, before we go, I want you to tell us about your shirt business and how people can help support you. I mean, you've been through a lot. Tell us about the shirt business, where people can go to find it, and what sort of things you do. And I know we spent a lot of time covering a trial in Virginia involving a guy named Johnny Depp, and I know you made some shirts involving that case as well. So tell us about that, Eva.
So I started it back in June, and I put my art on t-shirts, and I started a series on TikTok called A Shirt a Day, where I would draw a piece of art every single day, and I would show my followers how the process of making shirts. It took off pretty quickly, and it's called Ghost Cowboy. It's ghostcowboy.co, and there's new products every single day. I kind of just make whatever I want, and then I put it on a shirt. Sometimes it is pop culture t-shirts, and sometimes it's art. I typically lean towards the Western cowboy theme. But yeah, it's my business and I love it.
Fantastic. So folks, if you're watching and you want to help out a young woman who deserves it, ghostcowboy.co, right? C-O?
Yes.
You got it. Eva Benefield, again, so great to see you, to be able to smile. That is just fantastic and so inspiring. Tommy Benefield, an amazing family spokesperson. And Stephanie, I know you did a heck of a job in the courtroom, and thank you for joining us tonight.